Well, I was really excited to open up the Super Bee and take a look at it, and everything looked really nice. The paint was really smooth and everything, and I turned it around and looked at the passenger side rear tire, and something just didn't look right with it. And so I took a closer look, and you can see that this wheel hub here is grossly bent out of proportion. And I'm not sure if that was something that happened during the thermal process when it was made, and maybe it got set down on its wheels before it cooled, but it's definitely warped. It's not broke or anything, it's just warped. So I'm going to try to take that part of the car apart and apply some heat to it with a heat gun and see if I just can't tweak it back into place a little bit. That undercarriage part is held in place by these two clips right here, which isn't a big deal. There was two Phillips screws here that I took out, and then right here and right here it was thermally melted. The pegs were, but I took a Dremel tool, and you can see they're loose now. I ground off those thermal welds, so that should separate now. So, well, wish me luck. Well, I almost had to use every tool in the arsenal to get this thing out, but I got it out without breaking it, and I'm hoping you can kind of see how bent that is, this side right here. So I'm going to try to put a little bit of heat on that and bend it back down a little bit. So, well, unfortunately I kind of overheated the part a little bit. Can't really see any real damage to it, but it kind of screwed up the wheel hub. If I can grab it a little bit, and kind of melted that. I should have, hindsight, I should have tried to take this off, but it was kind of a bastard to get off. So the original piece isn't going to work out for me quite the way I wanted to, so I've decided to grab an old donor car. You can see how dusty that is. Old '69 Charger to get the suspension pieces off. I've already got the front wheels off of it. I just got done grinding some of the plastic welds there so I can get this rear axle assembly off. So it looks like we're going to go from one '69 Charger to a '69 Super Bee, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So I'm going to get this rear piece off next, and hopefully we'll be able to start reassembling the Super Bee. And I just wanted to show you, this is just a center punch, spring-loaded center punch, and after you grind these plastic welds down, you can use the tip of it and just kind of push the pin back through the other side, and you can see I got that one right there to poke through, and then that'll loosen these up. So we're good to go there. All I got to do is these two screws, and then push in these tabs, and that'll release the rear suspension. And there it is. That's my new suspension piece for the Super Bee. And looking at the front suspension on the Super Bee, I was kind of hoping that this tab right here wasn't glued on so good. Then I'd be able to slide the wheels forward and past that. That's how I got the one off the Charger. You can see it's is loose right there. But unfortunately on the Super Bee it's glued on a little too strong, so I'm not going to take a chance of breaking that. So I've ground down a couple spots where the exhaust is held on, and I'll use the center punch to punch those out. Then I'll be able to drag these wheels all the way back and out and replace them with the ones from the Charger. Okay, well, that worked out pretty good. I got the exhaust off, and I just popped these two tabs, so I should be able to walk the wheels right back out, and there they are. So I'll go ahead and be able to replace those pretty easily now. Okay, I got my donor set of wheels all ready. I kind of cleaned them up and shined them up a little bit. So I'm going to try to sneak this back to the front. Then I got to try to get the steering wheel hooked back in there. That might be a little bit of a challenge when it comes time to do that, but I think we'll be able to get it. Okay, that looks good. Then I just got to kind of snap these back into place a little bit. There's that side, and there's that one. Okay, that's not too bad. We got the front suspension back on. I got to put two screws here, but otherwise I think we're in pretty good shape. And now it's time to put the exhaust back together. It's just a matter of lining up these pins in the respective holes. Okay, that went together pretty good. You can see this kind of got a little bounce to it yet, so I've got some painter's tape, and I might hold that in place while I put the glue down to hold the pins in. I've got both exhaust pieces, they're in place. I haven't glued them yet, just because I want to make sure that I can get the rear suspension in there without any trouble. And I just wanted to show you the difference between the two real quick. There's just a slight difference. This is the one that came out of the Super Bee. You can see it's kind of got, rounded rear end there. And this is the one out of the Charger. It's a little more square. But they'll bolt up both the same, and so everything should work out just right. Well, I got the rear suspension put back into place. That was actually kind of a pain in the butt. You got a couple places you got to get lined up at the front, the two pegs that are in the middle, the back, and then these little shocks right here. Try to get those lined up. I did have to cut just a little bit off. There's a pin at the front of the drive shaft. I had to cut a little bit of that off. Otherwise, it was kind of pushing too much pressure against the rear pumpkin there, and there wasn't any room between it and the fuel tank. But by trimming that little piece off, I was able to gain quite a bit there. Then everything lined up. Got the two screws in the top there. So now I'm going to put a couple drops of glue wherever I use the Dremel tool to grind out the plastic welds. And there's one on each side of the tunnel there too. So I'm going to get that done and then should be able to start putting the body back on. And one thing I wanted to point out about this super glue is I'm using a gel type of super glue, so it's a little bit thicker and it won't be as runny. Some super glues, you know, can be as thin as water, and you know, you don't want that to run all over the place. So this stuff, when you put it down, it pretty much stays right where you want it, so you shouldn't have any problems with that. Just always make sure that you. If you get any on your fingers, to try to actually wash your hands and stuff, because if you touch your models and you got some super glue, boy, it's going to leave a nasty mark on it, and you're going to wish that never happened. So I'm going to let this set up for a few minutes, and then we're going to put the body back on. Okay, I got the body put down on the chassis. It went together pretty good. I did have a little trouble getting the steering mechanism to go into the little bracket there that holds it so that the wheels turn. I messed with that for a little bit, but I finally got it. Pretty much I got all the screws in. I just got to tighten up these two here, and then everything should be put back together just like normal. So there it is. So just a little recap. When I opened up the 69 Super B this morning and looked at it, the back passenger side wheel was sitting really crooked. It was sitting about like this here, and when this back piece was made in the thermoforming, it was either too hot when they set it down and it warped it. And I tried to straighten it back out by putting some heat on it, but it didn't work. And I ended up kind of wrecking the other wheel hub here. And get the damn thing. So kind of wrecked that, and decided to start looking at some of my other models. I had this old 69 Charger just laying around. You can see how dusty it is. I haven't done nothing with it, and I decided to use that as a donor car to swap out the whole rear end, so and the front suspension too. So luckily everything pretty much worked out. All the holes lined up and everything. Apparently not much has changed with them. So, but yeah, I wish I would have videoed what this looked like before I started tearing it apart completely, but when I saw that, I kind of went into panic mode and started unscrewing things and taking stuff apart, but I wish I kind of would have got a shot of that. The reason why I had to swap out the whole thing, getting these wheels apart is a bastard. You're pretty much almost going to wreck them. So I just felt it was better to take them apart. And actually the original wheels off of this, I don't know if you can see, there's the red side, they're smooth tires all the way around. And unfortunately these ones, see how they kind of got the crackle look to them or whatever. So it's not like I could just swap out the wheels or whatever. And they've also changed the design a little bit of the front wheel. Let's see, is this the piece? Yeah. This is actually a two-piece deal here, and this tire would have gone over it, but they changed the tire design. You can kind of see here's a crackle one, what that looks like, and here's the other red line tire, totally different. So you kind of have to, if you're going to do one, you got to do them all, otherwise they aren't going to match. So, but nah, I'm good enough. I'm happy with it, and now we'll be able to do a review on it, and it won't look so screwed up. Like I say, that passenger side wheel was really wonky on it, so good to go now. So, all right, well, we'll check you later.